together tonight. Please guide us with your wisdom in the decisions that we make. I pray for peace in our world and protection for those fighting to keep that peace, especially in the Ukraine. Lord, please look upon the hearts of all the people gathered here together in this room and answer their needs and prayers. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Doug Brown.
Here.
Eddie Bryant.
Here.
Larry Bud.
Here.
Steve Dorsonet.
Present.
Kathy Driscoll.
Here.
Jim Olive.
Here.
Crystal Teddy.
Here.
Jeremy Wilson.
Here.
All aldermen are present. We'll move down. We'll wait on a few of the other girls. You said they're coming here in a few minutes.
Yeah, they should be here.
So we'll wait on them a few minutes. We'll go. I need a motion to approve the omnibus
So moved.
designation by Alderman Bryant.
Second.
Second.
Yes, I said
Alderman
second.
Driscoll. Roll call.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve Dorsonet.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Minutes of the public hearing held April 18th, 2022. Minutes of the regular meeting held April 18th, 2022. Minutes of the Finance Committee meeting held April 21st, 2022. Minutes of the Ordinance Committee meeting held April 21st, 2022. Minutes of the Public Facilities Committee meeting held April 28th, 2022. And minutes of the Street and Sewer Committee meeting held April 28th, 2022. Motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Alderman
Second.
Bryant, second. Alderman Olive. Roll call.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve Dorsonet.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Ordinance, an ordinance granting a special use for the development and operation of a 1.125 megawatt community solar energy facility of GSI Group LLC Property. Motion to approve the ordinance. Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Dorsones, questions or comments?
I have several comments.
Comments,
If I may.
Rocky?
This is anyone there from GSI
No,
or
sir.
from Solar America in the audience?
No, sir.
Well, the ordinance that I prepared and sent out to all of you sometime today, and I think Julie then sent a copy to everyone else. Their attorney had some questions and some suggested revisions. I've looked those over. I've got some comments that I'd like to make on those. The one thing they were asking is to change and take off the word community everywhere when it references the solar energy facility. I don't have a problem with that. And that you'll see on the ordinance, it appeared on several pages, so I've taken that off of the ordinance, that the word quote community. The other thing that I didn't have a problem with, on page 6, the compliance with our code, our city code as now or hereafter enacted. They did not want to agree for things in the future that they're not aware of yet, and I can see their point of view. I'm okay with recommending we omit that. The other thing though, and I did add a paragraph because when I was drafting it, Solar America has to submit pursuant to your city code. I think it's paragraph 18 or 19 of code section 10-15-4. They are to submit a written lease that they have with GSI to allow them to operate the solar facility. When Solar America made their comments, they noted that, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. So I've added that. I added a paragraph 12 to the ordinance that simply says, Solar America, as the tenant, shall submit and maintain a signed written lease with GSI as the landlord for the GSI property. Now, the other thing that I do have a question, and this is kind of a business decision for all of you. If you recall, GSI and Solar America, both of which are LLCs, there are the two folks that came to the city and applied for the special use. They are the two entities that was published in the paper for public hearing. And they were the two entities that, when the Planning Commission made the motion, the City Council last meeting approved it, was just GSI and Solar America. Now they come here and they want to say Solar America or their affiliate. We don't know who that affiliate is right now. And that decommissioning plan and the obligations to remove the facility after its useful life and restore the ground back. So I don't recommend that you include that language of the unknown affiliate. And then I also added language in there, they didn't like the language in there that says that any other entity having an indirect ownership stake in GSI or So America, I was making them jointly and severally liable too, because these corporate entities are limited liability companies. We don't know how they're structured or how financially stable they are. I mean, GSI is a big company, but they're the ones that GSI Group owns the real estate. They're not the same person, the same entity, if you will, probably, that actually runs the operations. So I guess I don't have a problem with taking out the language of any entity having indirect ownership stake, as long as we all remember when it comes time to get the building permit, that the performance and payment bond is high enough to, and with adequate surety to protect the city in the event that you need to call upon the bond to do that. So I would suggest with those changes I just mentioned would be my recommendation. Unless you folks don't care who is actually going to be the operator, that's a call for you guys to discuss.
Rocky, I just have one question. Do you think the community solar, they know who their affiliate may or may not be now, or do you think that's just something they put in there for the future in case they get an affiliate?
That's a good question. I can't answer it. We've never had mention of an affiliate before. We've never discussed. I don't know. Now, if we know who it is, then okay, you guys can decide, okay, if this is the company that's going to end up doing it, you guys can make a business decision and say, okay, we'll do that. But we don't have a name on it, and you say affiliate, as life goes on, they can just keep transferring this to whatever affiliate they want to.
Any questions or comments from the alderman? Do we think, is this time sensitive, or they need this ordinance approval tonight, or can we wait 2 weeks for you to find this out?
I think we can wait 2 weeks. I don't know if it's time sensitive or not, but I don't know why 2 weeks wouldn't hurt.
We need to know,
I
table it.
suggest we table.
I make a motion to table it.
Motion to table by Alderman Bud, second, Alderman Driscoll. Roll call.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve Dorsones.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Jim Muller.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Megan Bryan.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0 to table this. How about girls, you ready?
I think we have one more. Wait, on one more, sorry.
We got time.
There's just gonna be bored to tears.
Ordinance. An ordinance to provide the purchase of a 2022 Komatsu WA320-8 front-end loader with equipment and accessories. Motion by Alderman Wilson.
Second.
Second. Alderman Bryant. Questions or comments?
A quick comment on that, Mr. Mayor. This is just that we're rescinding the previous ordinance because the city has now been told we can't spend the funds for that. So we had to rescind that ordinance. This is a new ordinance for the same thing you adopted about a meeting ago. I think we need to put on that Exhibit A, Julie, whenever we put the file on. The same exhibit we had when the old ordinance was.
Okay.
Roll call.
Steve Dorsones.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Jim Muller.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Megan Bryan.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Mayor Barry votes yes. Motion carries 9-0. An ordinance to provide for the purchase of a 2021 Komatsu WA320-8 front-end loader with equipment and accessories, and I assume that would be Exhibit B?
No.
No, there's an Exhibit A and B on that ordinance. Or just a group Exhibit A on that.
So motion by Alderman Bryant, second. Alderman Bud, questions or comments? Roll call.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Jim Muller.
Yes.
Crystal Teddy.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Megan Bryan.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve Dorsones.
Yes.
Mayor Barry.
Yes, motion carries
Just a reminder,
9-0.
Mr. Mayor, for Mr. Bud, to be sure that gets on the appropriation ordinance for May, because it's gonna come up in the new appropriation for both these.
Okay.
Ordinance approving and adopting Taylorville Business Development District Number 1 fiscal year 2023 allocation of funds for downtown redevelopment projects. Motion by
I'll make the motion.
Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Driscoll, comment, Alderman Bud?
At the BDD committee 2 weeks ago, I think it was, The BDD committee wanted to increase the funds from 500,000 to 600,000. And I explained to them that we're putting in $76,000 for the small town Taylorville. We'll have approximately 163,000 that we'll have to carry over on projects that have been approved but have not been completed, so that money will have to roll over in a separate line item. So I told them that I would support the 500,000, but that would be for the whole town, because the way we had it set up, there was 250 for the downtown, 250 for the outlying areas. So there would be a total of 500,000, and it would be used for the whole town.
And that's what you want the ordinance to say?
Yes.
And then we had a first and a second. Any other questions or comments? So we're voting on $500,000 appropriation for the allocation of funds for the whole town.
Correct.
Correct? Okay, roll call.
Jim Mullin,
Yes.
Chris Teddy,
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson,
Yes.
Doug Brown,
Yes.
Megan Bryant,
Yes.
Larry Bud,
Yes.
Steve Dorsones,
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll,
Yes.
Mary Berry.
Yes, motion carries 9-0. Motion to bid and or advertise office level 3 position in the police department.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Bryant, second. Alderman Brown, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Motion to bid and or advertise 2 full-time dispatchers for the police department.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Bryant, second.
Second.
Alderman Driscoll, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the lift station maintenance contract from Vanderbilt Engineering for the lift stations in various locations within the city of Taylorville and to waive any statutory bidding requirements. Motion by Alderman Wilson, second. Alderman Olive, questions or comments? Comment, Alderman Dorsones?
Yes, this item was brought up on April 28th at the Street and Sewer Committee, and it was, a motion was made to table this, and now I see that it's on the agenda for tonight. Got a question, I guess, as to why that was made on the agenda tonight. Also, I'm not in favor of waiving the statutory bidding requirements. The initial quote for this was going to be about $63,000, and I don't think that's a prudent use of taxpayer funds by not putting this out for bid.
Well, I'll explain to you why it was put on the agenda. Was the chairman and the street superintendent thought if a lift station would go down and we didn't have a contract, who would we get to work on? So we talked with Rocky. He said that we could do 2 ways. We could either waive the statutory bid, or since they've been a great company to work with over 25 years, we could just vote to keep the contract going. Is that right, Rocky?
Yeah, let me explain a couple things here. I think Alderman Dorsones is correct. I'll throw out a statute, 65 ILCS 5/8-9-1. Any non-home rule municipality like us that are under 500,000, and we're going to expend over 25,000 for work or public improvements, it's supposed to be sent out for bid unless 2/3 of the aldermen vote to waive the statutory bidding. That's one thing. So if you have the votes tonight, you're only a panel of 8, so it would take a vote of 6 to 8 to waive the statutory bidding. But if you look at that particular bidding statute and go to 8-9-3, it specifically says, they make reference to the special statute under 50 ILCS 510 and sequel, which deals with engineers and surveyors. And it says that if those provisions in that statute conflict with this bidding requirement statute, the latter prevails. And when you go to that statute, it says that yes, there's a process you would go through, typically for engineers to set out for bids, and you look for qualifications and so forth, but each of the provisions says, unless the city has a satisfactory relationship for services with that particular firm, you don't have to go through that process.
So what is the point of tabling something at a committee meeting if we're just gonna be able to throw anything on a council agenda? So there's really no point in tabling anything, is
No,
that
there's
correct?
point in tabling because it doesn't come out of committee, but I've always reserved the right to put anything on council that I feel needs to be voted on. And according to our street superintendent and our chairman of that, he thought this was needed to be voted on because like I said before, if one of the lift stations would go down, we don't have a contract with anyone to work on.
I completely
So-
agree with that, and I think this should go through, and I'll vote yes for this. I
Okay.
just think it looks a little shady when we're all sitting there and we decide to table something for, you know, for future conversation, and then next thing you know, it's just
Well,
arbitrarily
this is
put on
future
council.
conversation now, but I thought the whole council needed to vote on it, because as you know, a lot of the committee meetings, not all the council members come. So I think that's what we need to vote on as a council. So that's why it's on tonight's council meeting. Just like something else I was asked to put on council, I decided not to put on council. And that was something that came out of the finance committee. Because I feel that needed to go back to committee. I talked to the chairman of the finance committee, him and I both agreed on that, and that's what was suggested. So no, I take suggestions, but I still have the final decision of what goes on council. So,
Ooh, I will check on that later.
okay, there's a first and a
Well, I
second.
have a question.
Just go.
Is the contract that is replaced, is that expired already? Or
Yes,
Okay.
the way I was told it was.
Yeah,
right.
it's already expired. Okay, 'cause I didn't think we knew a date of the contract.
All in Dorsones?
Yes, because when we left that meeting the other night on the 28th, to my knowledge, nobody in that room knew the terms of that contract, when it expired at all.
Right.
I'm not arguing the fact that this is not an emergency, that these need to be
And we,
kept up to
and we
date.
asked the superintendent to find out the next morning, if you remember. And he came to me and said that the contract had expired and he'd like to put this on the council agenda.
So maybe just like an email out to everybody, hey, by the way, the contract expired, I know we tabled it, throwing it on the council, just to let you guys know.
Point well taken. All right.
Just so, if you guys will look at, City Code Section 1-6-6B, item 12, that's where I think the mayor's coming from, where it says any additional or other order of business can be made by order of the mayor from time to time.
What's that?
That's where he's got the power to do that on the agenda.
Will you ask him that again?
1-6-6-12.
It's 1-6-6, subparagraph B12.
1-6-6-B12. Okay. Roll call.
Crystal Teddy.
Here.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Doug Brown.
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve Dorsones.
No.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-1. You did vote yes, didn't you? Yes, sir. Motion carries 7-1. Okay, I think we got everyone here, right? For the exciting part. Let me introduce the girls' 7th grade state champions. If you stand up and remain standing. Josephine Derville, McKinley Simplecane, Hope Kitson, Grace Rogers, Camille Heatherly, Kaylee Campbell, Leah Lovekamp, Nora Thomas, Skylar Stocker, Gianna Tarr, head coach Doug Bowser, scorekeeper was Sam Bowser, and assistant coach Joe Jackson. The girls' season started by winning the Taylorville tournament, where Nora Thomas, McKinley Simplecamp, and Grace Rogers made the all-tournament team. The girls played Effingham Flaming Hearts for the regional championship, where they won 35-17. On December 1st, 2021, the girls played the sectional championship, defeating Muhammad Seymour 26-20. Saturday, December 4th, 2021, the team traveled to Bolingbrook to start their 7th grade Class 4A state run, where they defeated Barrington Station, who was 23-2, 33-22. Later that evening, they took on Lockport Oak Prairie, who also finished 21-2, and defeated them 28-25. Thursday, December 9th, 2021, the girls headed back to Bolingbrook to play for the 4A state title against the Morton Potters. It was an intense game against a great deal of size and talent. Taylorville headed into the locker room down 11-5 at halftime, but after a great speech by Coach Bowser, they ended the night defeating Morgan 18-16 for the 7th grade state 4A title. The Taylorville Junior High 7th grade girls ended their season with a record of 26-2 as the first 7th grade girls team in Taylorville history to ever win the state title. And now I would like to congratulate the 7th grade girls on their state champion, and also we're going to name them as the parade marshals at our annual 4th of July parade. So congratulations, girls. Step forward, a little plaque I'd like to give you. Come on. Don't be shy, girls. Whereas the 2022 7th grade girls basketball team has shown perseverance, hard work, dedication, and great coaching. Whereas the 2022 7th grade girls basketball team finished with a record of 26-2 by winning the regional championship, the sectional championship, and going on to win the 7th grade 4A state championship, making them the first 7th grade girls team in Taylorville history to ever win the state title. Now, therefore, I, Bruce Berry, Mayor of the City of Taylorville, do hereby proclaim May 2nd, 2022 as 7th grade girls basketball day. Congratulations. Congratulations on being named the state or parade marshals for the July 4th parade. There you go, Coach. And I got brownies and ice cream for you. Good job, congratulations. Good job. Good job.
I like you guys' shirts too.
That was pretty tame.
Motion to approve the special events permit for the quarterback club on May 13th, 14th, 2022 at the corner of Main Cross and Webster Street. That's for our skateboard park fundraiser. Motion of Alderman Bryant, second. Second, Alderman Driscoll. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the special events permit for Taylorville High School graduation parade to be held on Friday, May 20th, 2022, beginning at approximately 7:45 p.m. Motion of Alderman Driscoll, second. Alderman Bud. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the special events permit for the powwow to be held at Lake Taylorville Marine on June 3rd through 5th, 2022. Motion by Alderman Brown, second.
Second.
Alderman Bryant. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the special events permit for Taylorville Dog Days on Saturday, September 10th, 2022, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the square. Motion by Alderman Driscoll, second. Alderman Bud, comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the special events permit for Kiwanis Kids Day on September 23rd and 24th, 2022 at the intersection of Main Cross and Webster Street. Motion to approve, Alderman Bud, second. Alderman Brown, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. A motion to approve the draft of the cannabis ordinance and confirm the May 16th, 2022 public hearing date to consider said ordinance.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Bryant, second.
Second.
Alderman Olive, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Well, let's roll call then.
Okay.
Roll call.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Doug Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bright?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve Dorsones?
No.
Kathy Driscoll?
No.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Chris Copetti?
No.
Motion carries 5-3. City attorney update.
First item is the Steak and Shake roadway dedication. I've been in touch with David Ritter of Steak and Shake, and I believe the mayor has spoke with the street and sewer superintendent who's gone out and confirmed that approach to the road that the city's to get by dedication apparently is okay. So the documents are essentially prepared, so assuming that we can get the mortgage company for Steak and Shake to sign off on a release, so we get the owner to sign the documents, it's a good chance we'll have it on next city council meeting for an ordinance to accept the roadway as city property, as pursuant to the development agreement that you did with them many months ago. The second thing I want to bring to your attention, I believe I copied you all on it, Andy Goodall, with the approval of the mayor, is there's a couple of properties, 439 North Cherokee and 821 East Lewis. I believe you've been furnished with photographs of the condition of the properties. Title and insurance commitments have been secured. The notices have been prepared by me, and I believe Andy's in the process, and Julie is getting those things mailed, recorded, and signs put up, and then the wait for 30 days is to move towards demolition of those two particular buildings. The other thing, American Tower proposal, I did get an inquiry by email from Jody Whitson, so I don't know where you're at on getting the updated present cash value, future cash value, computations from Brett Mason. So as soon as you guys can get that, have a meeting, let me know what your decision is, how you want to move forward with their proposal. I think Mr. Dorsones had an excellent question for me, I think a week ago, that I responded, and I think you've all got a copy of that information as to, maybe hopefully for clarification as to the dollar amounts that you've been paid, how much more you can expect to get for the remaining 4.5 years, and then compare that with the $250,000 offer. The other thing that I think you probably got copied today, just late this afternoon as I put it together, the proposed power purchase agreement with the rural electric energy project there at the water treatment plant. Both gentlemen from that company has responded to me. They're going to look at it this evening, get back with me tomorrow with any comments about that. I know they're in some kind of a time crunch, but you know the process is going to be, as you saw in my email, is that if they're okay with it, we need to forward on to IEPA to get their sign off on it, so that we don't run afoul of your bond ordinance from the water treatment plant. And then, of course, they'll, like anybody else, should go through the process of filing an application for the solar energy facility special use. And then we'll probably have to have the property rezoned to make that happen for the water treatment plant. So that's on the horizon. The mayor may or may not, depending upon the time crunch that they have, to call a special meeting before the next council meeting. We'll wait and see how that pans out. Another matter that came up that I'm suggesting that you, at your next ordinance committee, take a look at your liquor code. The statute's been amended that addresses the LLCs. Before it was just corporations. Now they've included that. A lot of your liquor establishments today are being formed under limited liability companies. And I think you had some questions at your last ordinance committee meeting about whether or not the two things, whether or not managers should need to be residents. You have the power to do that. Whether or not you want to continue that type of restriction. Secondly, is the question of the double fee
thank you.
Okay. Very good.
Mayor report. What a great night. We finally got to honor our 7th grade state champion girls basketball team. As I said earlier, we have named them as parade marshals in our 4th of July parade. The city is moving forward with the East Main Street project. We did receive the Safe Sidewalks grant on our way to here on our downtown revitalization grant. Mike Tennant and his crew are getting the cemetery in tip-top condition for this week's Mother's Day and also Memorial Day at the end of the month. Volunteers are needed on the 21st of May, which is Armed Forces Day, to put the flags up in the cemetery. So anybody would like to volunteer, we would appreciate you coming to the cemetery on Saturday, May 21st. Thank you very much.
What time?
Committee reports. Discussion and/or motions to approve, adopt, and/or deny, and/or table, and/or amend, and/or refer to an appropriate committee in whole or in part the matters regarding the following subject matters discussed at the committee level. Finance, Alderman Bud.
Thank you. Motion to recommend the city council to contribute $8,000 to the Greater Taylorville Chamber of Commerce Chili Fest to be paid out of the hotel motel tax fund. Make that form motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud,
Second.
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 Alderman Bryant, questions or comments? Roll call.
Doug Brown,
Yes.
Megan Bryant.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Steve Dorsones.
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Chris Popetti.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Next motion, recommend the city council to authorize and direct the city treasurer to sign the engagement letter from Chapman and Cutler LLP. Make that form motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Bryant, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next one was motion to recommend city council to forward the cemetery, ASDA, fire, water, and lake budgets to the treasurer for the refinement. Make that form motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Bryant, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And the last one was motion to recommend the city council accept the treasurer's report as presented. Make that form motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Bryant, questions or comments? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance, Alderman Skoltedi.
Alderman Bryant, since you've been taking care of it for me in my vacation absence.
Got a motion to recommend to the city council to forward the fiscal year 22-23 HBO budget to the treasurer for further refinement.
Motion by Alderman Bryant, second.
Second.
Alderman Skoltedi, questions or comments? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Public facilities, Alderman Olive.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion to recommend the city council to forward the 2022-2023 municipal building budget to the finance committee. That's on the motion.
Motion by Alderman Olive, second.
Second.
Alderman Bud, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Second item is motion to recommend the city council to forward the 2022-2023 Gagney building, which is a new line item budget this year, 1670 West Present building budget to the finance committee. That's on the motion.
Motion by Alderman Olive, second. Alderman Bud, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Street and sewer, Alderman Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion to recommend to the city council to approve the closure of Gandy Street going south to 2nd Street and the closure of First Street to Cherokee Street from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Monday, May 30th, 2022 for Memorial Day services. Make that form motion.
Motion by Alderman Wilson, second.
Second.
Alderman Brown, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to recommend to the city council for the fiscal year 2022-2023 street and sewer budget to the finance committee. Make that form motion.
Motion by Alderman Wilson, second. Alderman Olive, questions or comments? All in
That
favor?
includes MFT and garbage, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that needs to be added to it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to recommend to the city council to authorize and direct the mayor to sign pay request number 1 from Truman L. Flatt and Sons Company Incorporated in the amount of $171,577.84 for the work on East Main Cross Street improvements This conditioned upon receipt of signed mechanics lien waivers in this amount and recommendation by the project engineer that the work has been satisfactorily performed. Make that form motion.
Motion by Alderman Wilson, second.
Second.
Alderman Olive, questions or comments? Roll call.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve Dorsones?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Chris Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Jeff Brown?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. Motion to approve and/or ratify payment of bills, $283,698.46. Motion by Alderman Bud, second.
Second.
Alderman Driscoll, questions or comments? Comment, Alderman Bud?
Insurance, $99,068.97. Illinois Public Risk for June, $17,314. Electric, $9,248.93. Garbage, $4,391.84. Telephone, $1,130.06. Farm and Home, Kroger's, Ron's, Walmart, and Taylorville Feed, $1,217.46. Quill for office supplies, $1,295.59. City of Taylorville, 15% sales cemetery to the Cashel Fund, $6,195. Downtown-Taylorville.org, $1,144.86. Computer Tech, $2,486.37. Concord Incorporated, this is drug testing, $1,120. Bradco, $7,612. Contractors Concrete, $4,054.75. Ricky Peters, $13,324. United Capital Funding for Temporary Help, $3,104.64. Meyer Austin Romano, $14,417.87. Jacob and Klein, $1,956. Economic Development, $7,824. Police and Fire Uniforms, $2,149.17. Police Department, Cedar Creek Kennels, $8,000. Fire Department, AEC Fire for gas monitor, this is grant funded, $1,518.94. View of Life Goldsmith for the Academy, $5,100. Rock and Roll Grain grant funded, $7,895.15. Street Department, Benton and Associates, $5,746.12. Bluebell Garage, $1,313.60. Lehigh and Hanson for rock, $1,281.12. Water Department Chemicals, $10,948.65. Midwest Meter, $15,492.08. Yard Heating and Cooling, $1,602.76. Cemetery, Hovenpole, $1,615.50. Walnut Street Woodworks for the sign, $5,375. Lake Department Star Electric for the campground, $7,455.16. And fuel for them was $2,841.42, and that totals to $221.01.
Thank you, Mr. Bud. Roll call.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Steve Dorsones?
Yes.
Kathy Driscoll?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Chris Teddy?
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson?
Yes.
Jeff Brown?
Yes.
Megan Bryant?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0. First subparagraph G of 5 ILCS 120/2.06. This portion of the city council meeting is reserved for any person wishing to address the council on any relevant subject matters concerning the city. The Illinois Open Meeting Act 5 ILCS 120/1 mandates no action shall be taken on subject matters not listed on the agenda, but the council may direct staff to address the topic or refer the subject matter to a future council and/or committee meeting. If anyone wishes to address the council, please provide your name and address, limit your comments or presentation to 3 minutes, and avoid repetitious comments. Thank you. Anyone like to address the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Kretzer?
I'd like to address the council. I might take a little bit more than 3 minutes, though.
Okay, well, you're required to stop you after 3 minutes, so.
Okay, well, my wife she'll yield her time to me because that gets me sick.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I wasn't able to attend the finance committee meeting a week ago because I was out of town. And there's some discussion in regards to the DDD application that I applied for. Well, I'd like to address the council because what come out of that meeting wasn't so good in my favor. And if I'd been here, I could have maybe made some comments that would have helped a little bit. But I want to read to you what I was texted after that meeting that night by somebody that was in the audience that wanted to bring to my attention. Just giving you a heads up, the city is going to try to screw you out of this BDD money. And I said, how's that? They're going to say it's rental property, it doesn't benefit the city or the community, and it's new, not renovation of existing building, and it doesn't improve the area. Well, I think that's totally wrong, and I don't think it's very professional from a city council that says stuff like that about a business. I've been in business for 40 years in Taylorville, and I kind of took that as an insult. And just to address some of the things that they said, I got 3 pictures here of the building that was there before I built my building. And I'll guarantee you, it wasn't pretty. Cars upside down, cutting cars up, trucks up, everything else. So I did improve the neighborhood. And as far as rental property goes, I've been going through some of the BDD money that you've been handing out. Brad Tullis built a building over on Route 29, basically the same size as mine. He rents it out to a flooring company. That's rental property as far as I'm concerned. And then I got another comment from somebody else that said, well, you should have come before you built the building. Well, you give money to Benny over at the Country Kitchen for the building he built, and there's a jiu-jitsu place in there now. I mean, it has nothing to do with BDD revenue brought in to the city. Well, with my building, I turned down somebody that wanted 3 semi-loads of product put in that building to sell here in Taylorville. The only reason I didn't do it was because I already had it rented before I ever got it done. I just don't feel like the city is taking the advisement of their BDD advisory committee, which has probably 200 hours or 200 years of business experience, and an administrator that recommended that my BDD application should be submitted. So, I'm just curious, how many of you have business experience on the council? How many of you have owned a business or run a business any time in your life? I mean, raise your hand if you have. I mean, I don't know.
I think your point's well taken, Pat, as we discussed. Out of that meeting, we wanted to get some direction from our administrator. I called him the next day. He's coming to our next finance committee on the 19th, as I told you. You're welcome to come to that. And I didn't know you were going to be out of town. Usually the BDD is passed through from committee to finance, but there's some aldermen that have some questions. I'm hoping the administrator, who lives in Bloomington, can be here that night, can answer some of these questions, and hopefully we can get on that path where everybody is, we're consistent, we do things what we want, the way we want to see it. And like I said to you this afternoon when we talked, I think we do need to listen to our BDD committee more than what we're doing so now. So I think point well taken. I think the council, I hope everyone comes to that finance committee meeting on the 19th. If you have specific questions for either the applicant or administrator, that will be the night to ask, and we can go ahead and approve these. But I was asked to put your application on council tonight. I talked with the chairman, as I stated before, and we both decided not to put it on here tonight until some of the council members got more information. So it's not that we've turned it down any, it's just, it's going to take a little bit longer of a process. So we will discuss it on the 19th.
My biggest thing is I don't know where you guys stand, because if one little bit of research I've done on the BDD, I see no logic.
There isn't. That's part of the problem.
Wait a minute, I've got the floor. I don't understand, because you do one thing for this person, but this person don't have to do that. I mean, if I had some kind of a idea of what you're asking, then maybe I can be, maybe I can answer some stuff, but you're just all over the place. So
I agree. So hopefully we can get all the questions answered on the 19th.
Okay.
Go forward.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak or anything? Seeing none, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Alderman Bryant, second. Second. Alderman